In a recent CBS News poll, 2 out of 3 Americans told us they're stressed about their own finances.
The middle class is no longer the majority in America.
So why is the number of middle-class Americans decreasing? There are several factors.
Never before have people earned more money yet felt poorer at the same time. In the US, median household income reached about $83,000, the highest level ever recorded. According to the numbers, we are richer than ever. According to the reality, my calculator is lying to me. Yet confidence is moving in the opposite direction. Consumer sentiment fell by nearly 6% in recent months, and the confidence gap between high earners and middle-income families is now the widest it has been in 7 years. This shows up in daily life. Walmart says middle-income shoppers are buying fewer non-essential items. Over 70% of consumers say they plan to cut spending on goods with big price increases. Restaurants report that people earning between $50,000 and $100,000 are choosing cheaper meals and promotions. Here is the real shock. The middle class is no longer the safe zone. Pew Research shows the middle class made up 62% of total income in 1970. By 2022, that share had fallen to about 43%. At the same time, the top 1% now captures more than 12% of all income. The middle class is not collapsing overnight. It is being erased slowly, quietly and globally. If incomes are rising, why does life feel harder than ever? Tell us your opinion in the comments below. Also, before we continue, hit that like button, subscribe and share this video, because what comes next explains why this is happening. So, what does middle class actually mean? The answer is less clear than most people believe.
According to the Pew Research Center, the middle class is defined as households earning between 2/3 and double the national median income. In the US, where the median household income is about $83,000. That puts the middle class roughly between $55,000 and $167,000 a year. On paper, that sounds comfortable. In reality, it can mean completely different lives. Income does not equal lifestyle anymore. A household earning $90,000 in rural Iowa can afford a home, savings, and a buffer for emergencies. Same income in New York, Los Angeles, or San Francisco often barely covers rent, healthcare, childcare, and transportation. Housing costs alone can eat up more than 40% of income in major cities. Healthcare and education make the gap even wider. Premiums, deductibles, tuition, and student debt quietly drain middle-income budgets. That is why 2 families with the same salary can feel like they live in different economic worlds.
This is the core problem. Being middle class on paper no longer means living in middle class life in the real world. For a brief moment, it looked like the middle class was recovering. In early summer, people earning between $50,000 and $100,000 were more optimistic about the economy than at any time since before the pandemic. Then confidence collapsed.
Surveys show their optimism fell sharply within weeks, dropping back to levels close to low-income households. Economists describe the shift as sudden, saying confidence fell off a cliff. The contrast with high earners is striking. Wealthier households continue to fly in premium cabins, buy luxury goods, and spend on travel. At the same time, middle-income families are cutting back across the board. Companies are seeing it clearly. Major retailers report fewer discretionary items in carts. Auto parts chains say customers are delaying non-essential car repairs. Clothing stores and restaurants report shoppers trading down to cheaper options and promotions. More than 70% of consumers now say they plan to reduce spending on items with large price increases.
This is not panic or collapse. It is adaptation. The middle class isn't splurging less. It's protecting itself. In today's economy, one clear pattern is emerging. Two-speed reality, where top earners keep spending while everyone below roughly $150,000 feels pressure.
Look at the airlines. Premium cabin sales grew, with carriers like United reporting a 5.6% increase in premium revenue, even as main cabin demand softened. First class and business seats are still selling out, while economy cabins have more empty seats. That tells a simple story. Wealthier travelers are still flying high, literally, while average passengers tighten their belts. Retail tells the same story. Some luxury brands have raised their full-year outlook after posting 32% revenue jumps. driven by affluent customers. Meanwhile, discount chains like Dollar General and value retailers are thriving as middle-income shoppers seek deals and trade down on necessities. Walmart has explicitly said mid- and low-income customers are reining in spending. The paradox is striking. Headline growth can look strong because overall spending hasn't collapsed, yet millions of middle-class families feel like the economy is slipping away from them.
Growth didn't disappear, it moved upward, concentrating where spending power remains strongest, while the rest squeeze every dollar harder. Even when incomes rise, the middle class keeps shrinking because four silent forces are quietly eroding security.
First, costs are rising faster than wages. Housing, healthcare, and education have increased far beyond general inflation. In many major cities, middle-income families spend over 30% of their income on rent or mortgage alone. Healthcare costs and college debt further drain budgets before people even begin to save. Second, technology and automation are reshaping work. Jobs once seen as secure, including white-collar office roles, are now vulnerable to software, AI, and outsourcing. This isn't a sudden collapse, but a slow shift that makes traditional career paths less reliable. Third, aging societies are stretching savings thin. People live longer, retire later, and often use their savings on long-term care for themselves or aging parents. That delays inheritance and limits economic mobility for the next generation. Fourth, the rise of the superstar economy means a small number capture outsized rewards, while most see only modest income growth.
This isn't just economic, it's psychological. The middle class wasn't promised wealth, it was promised stability. That compromise is breaking. The shrinking middle class isn't just an American problem, it's a global paradox.
Worldwide, the consumer class is still growing. In countries like India, China, and Indonesia, millions are entering what's considered the middle class for the first time, lifting global consumption to record highs. But in developed economies, the story looks very different. Middle-income households in the US, Europe, and Japan feel squeezed as living costs rise faster than wages. Housing, healthcare, and education continue to stretch budgets, while automation and economic shifts threaten job security. This creates a striking contradiction. Global growth is booming, yet local security for long-established middle classes is eroding. Trade tensions, rising debt, tariffs, and higher interest rates add another layer of pressure, making stability even harder to achieve.
The result is a world where more people are officially middle class, but fewer feel economically secure. The global middle class is growing, but it's standing on shakier ground than ever. The future of the middle class could go in two very different directions. One path is slow erosion. Rising borrowing costs, trade tension, and slower economic growth could squeeze middle-income households even further, making stability harder to maintain. Jobs may become less secure, and everyday costs could outpace wages, leaving families constantly on edge. The other path is reform and adaptation. Smart policies, targeted investment, and productivity improvements could help households maintain stability, even as the economy changes. Technology and globalization won't have to mean insecurity if the right steps are taken to protect the middle class. The uncomfortable truth is that rising incomes alone no longer guarantee prosperity. The middle class isn't disappearing because people failed. It's disappearing because the rules change quietly. Which future do you think is more likely, slow erosion or reform and adaptation? Let me know your opinion in the comments below. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe and share this video so you don't miss our upcoming content. Catch you in the next one.